This is episode 207 of the Super League Pod as we discuss the new beginnings delivering big style. A return to the news for wife beaters brings a return to the need for parental advisory language warnings on SLP, justifiably. Beyond that, we get excited for the World Cup, nearly 3 years out, and we recap some great games as Super League is back. It's SLP time. So, episode 207 of the Super League Pod, but it's the first episode talking about games for the new season. Welcome along to any new listeners. I'm Mark, and I'm joined this week by Tim G. Welcome back to the show, Tim.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to finally be underway and actually have something to watch and not just speculation, but we've actually got something in front of us.
Yeah, so before we catch up on our weeks and stuff, just to sort of give people a heads up on what to expect. So for the new listeners' benefit, this one's going to be our first proper bread and butter show of 2019, where we start with a news recap, and there's a lot to cover. Seems like there is a lot at the moment, early doors. So don't expect a deep dive into Wigan's salary cap breach. Me and Tim covered that midweek on an SLP short. Go back to listen to that if you want a bit more of a take on that news topic. Hopefully you enjoy this approach of trying to cover off some of the bigger stories that way so they don't make the main show run on for too long. We'll try and manage that as we go through the year. Then it's Super League match reviews. We've rejigged things a little, so let us have your feedback on the new style if you're a long-term listener. We're just trying to do everything we can to keep it to our 2-hour shows that we're aiming for this year. We'll give the championship results and then our predictions for next week's action as well. I think with an exciting round one in both the Super League and the Championship, it might test our ability to go for 2-hour shows, Tim, but we're going to do what we can. So yeah, how have you been? What have you been up to since we last spoke about Wigan's salary cap breach?
Yeah, been good. I had a bit of a busy weekend, so we had quite a lot of snow down here in Swindon, so we got a good 3 inches or so. So it was quite hard. So I was convinced Friday afternoon I wasn't going anywhere for the weekend, which was a bit of a bummer. Then went up to Wembley, managed to get the trains. Trains were actually working, which was a minor miracle. Got the train up to Wembley Friday night. Heather, my girlfriend, was very kind in letting me watch the Hull derby while she assembled some IKEA furniture. So we got a good division of labour there, both playing to our skill sets, which was good. And
nice. Then
went to football Saturday morning. 2-0 down after 7 minutes, and then came back and won 5-2, which was another excitement. And then
that's Brentford,
yeah.
For anyone who's not aware of who Tim follows.
And then went and saw Snow Patrol Saturday night, who were very good.
Bloody hell.
At Wembley Arena.
You've been well busy.
Yeah, well, Wembley Arena is just 10-minute walk from where Heather lives, so it's the very weird thing of being at an arena show, and then by 11:15 we were sat in the front room with a cup of tea. And we've done it a couple of times. I'm still not used to it. It's still very strange because I'm used to living at the end of a train line.
Sat in a car park for 20 minutes.
Or rushing to get the last train and living at the end of a train line and still not getting back till 1 a.m. So it's taking a bit to get my head around that. And then Sunday, we went for a walk around London. We got Hidden Walks of London book. We got ourselves for around Christmas, and we've been doing one of those. So we ticked off another one of those.
Where did you find yourself?
Started off in Westminster.
In Hidden
London.
And
went... it was quite funny because 1 minute we were heaving full of tourists.
Tim, Westminster's pretty famous, mate. It's not that hidden.
But the bits we went to were quite... 1 minute we were full of tourists and it was heaving. And the next minute took one right turn and a left turn and suddenly there's nobody there. And then we went right down past the Tate, ended up going all the way over to wherever we went to, almost opposite Vauxhall. I can't remember. It was only 24 hours ago. Went to opposite
south of London,
opposite Vauxhall, and then we went back round the back of the Tate Gallery, and then ended up in the cloisters of Westminster Abbey, and then we finished the prescribed route down Whitehall. And then we actually went through St James's Park because it was a nice day.
Wow. That is an absolutely jam-packed weekend of lots of different stuff. My weekend, Tim, was jam-packed with mostly the same stuff.
Pending
I
400
don't know if
games, I
people
think, from Instagram.
yeah. I don't know if people have been following along on the SLP Instagram or Twitter feeds over the weekend, but I've been, across the north really. I've been to 4 games since Thursday, so a lot of driving on the motorway, a lot of the salt spreading salt had bounced up on my car, so I went to get that cleaned today. Saw some great games. Met up with some of the SLP family whilst I was at those games. I saw Mark W, the Huddersfield fan, on Friday night when I went with my brother to Huddersfield Salford. I saw Dom Hodgson and Lee Whitnell, two occasional guest hosts of the show. That'll be along, I think, in April. They've both got scheduled in to do shows. I went out for pizza with those two after the Leeds versus Warrington game, so that was a fun time out. We had a little bit of a 3-way date there, and then on Sunday afternoon,
a throuple, I think, is the right word.
A throuple, yes. And then on Sunday afternoon, I caught up with Paul O'Brien and his daughter and I met his dad as well at the Widnes game, where we also got to see a little bit of Anthony Gelling in the stands with us as well, which is a story that's been kind of making the headlines over the last 24 hours. That was really cool. He sort of got subbed off with 5 minutes to go and went to. A kid went to basically give him a high five, and then the dad asked if he could have a picture, and Gelling was like, "Yeah, sure, totally." Took the picture, then sat down in the seat next to the kid and just started watching the game with him. It was, really, really cool. Man of the people behaviour from Anthony Gelling. So that was awesome. So a great weekend watching rugby. Then god awful Super Bowl. I mean, the first half was tense-ish with a defensive battle, and I quite like that sort of stuff, and some of the defensive plays were exciting. But as the second half went on, it just felt like two teams cancelling each other out without doing much exciting. So and then the Patriots won, so disappointing all round, that one for me. But sporty weekend on the motorways and then at games for me.
Have you and Emma fallen out or something?
No, we haven't, but we might if I keep this up. I was already in trouble for doing the extra show last week, so hopefully no serious news breaks this week, and we don't have to cover anything because she was not. She was all right with it in theory, but then in reality, I think she got a little bit annoyed of me being out 3 nights in a row to like getting in at 11:30. So we'll see. I probably won't be going into more than just the Wigan game next week, Tim. Let's put it that way. And also, just need to mention some sort of sad personal news in a way, but my step grandmother passed away at the weekend, Mildred. So I just wanted to give her a sort of thanks for everything she did for us and a rest in peace to her. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that at the top of the show as well. And speaking of shout outs, I suppose we've got a couple that we need to make for this episode, Tim. So the first one is Awesome Merch. They're based in Leeds. They've delivered the new SLP hats that can be seen on our Instagram posts from my trip around Rugby League land this weekend, Tim. And actually, they've come out really well. They did look
good. I was very envious seeing you, mainly because at the time I think I was trudging through the snow when I saw the picture. But I did think that was a good investment for colder weather.
Well, we'll make sure we get one down to you and to all the other co-hosts as well. But yeah, do you know what? Warmer than I expected. Really decent quality they've come out. So yeah, listen to the end of the show, everyone, if you want to find out how to get your hands on one of those. We do have some other little bits and bobs as well to give out this year. We've got some bottle openers and some just some pin badges. One that Grace sported on her hat when she had a picture taken with Anthony Gelling on Sunday, so that was awesome too. Really sweet of her to do that. So yeah, so that was cool, and that stuff's arrived this week, and it was, top notch stuff. And also Rich Wilkinson, thanks for the funky new music, which you won't have heard yet, Tim. But when you I'm
looking forward to that.
Yeah, we wanted something a little bit different, to be honest, for the new beginning that Super League has launched this year. And Rich has definitely delivered something a little bit different to what we've had over the years.
As long as it's not jazz, I'll be happy.
No, so I love that you're talking about this when other people will have heard it already. You haven't. I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah, what could it be? I mean, I especially like the middle eight there. There we go. Just played that.
I don't think you. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to tell you. Everyone else knows, but you'll.
I will
find out
actually
and
be
enjoy
the
it too.
last person to know in relative timeline. In timeline to
In
her
relative
hearing
timeline.
this versus when I actually
Yeah.
get to hear. Yeah, there we go.
That's a good point. Right, and so I think the last thing to do.
So we've got a bit
in this,
Inception here,
opening-
isn't it? Trying to work out this stuff.
I've lost my track. I've lost my way already. This one's going to be a long show. Episode sponsor details is the last thing to do now before we get into the news. So do you want to give the shout out to our
New sponsor? Yes.
for this episode?
This episode is sponsored by King of Kicks. Search for King of Kicks UK on Instagram and Facebook to find loads of fresh trainers that you won't find in the shops, whether they're for you or as a gift, or if you're looking for some trainers from brands like Nike, whichever you prefer, Adidas, depending on which way you go, Converse and more. Check out King of Kicks. You spelt that wrong on the on the second go round. It's not King of Kicks. Shop
Well, you never know. You could get some kinky trainers there.
shop now and support our newest sponsor.
Excellent stuff. So yeah, check out King of Kicks, and we will move on to the news.
I'm like Ron Burgundy. Whatever you write down, I'm going to read out.
I'd not even noticed that, so nice spot. It's a shame that you noticed it first, Tim. But there you go. King Kicks. Let's move on.
Right then, now it's time for the news, and we start with the news that everybody was excitedly watching last Tuesday morning, and that's that this week the 2021 World Cup venues were announced. Arsenal's Emirates Stadium will be one of the 21 host venues for the tournament, and it will be the first non-football match to be played at the 60,260 capacity stadium, which opened in 2006. That 260 is really important, isn't it? Yeah, that's like that little bit more. They could have just said 60,000 and no one would have cared. The women's and
We'll care when we've
got all those. Yeah, when you can't get a ticket.
And we're saying over 60,000 people
That's
were there.
very true.
Yeah.
The women's and wheelchair events will run alongside the men's competition for the first time. Newcastle St James's Park will host the opening ceremony on the 23rd of October, with the men's and women's finals both together at Old Trafford on the 27th of November 2021. I can't wait for that because that's 2 days after my birthday. So,
Date for the
in
diary.
fact, am I going to be 35? Or no, is that next? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you will.
No, I'll
yeah.
be 36.
Yeah.
Anyway, the draw will take. Or will I? Oh,
We'll
I
be
can't
old.
remember. Can't work this one.
We'll all be older than we
Yeah.
are now.
We're getting very timey-wimey, let's say.
Time obsessed.
The draw will take place on the 27th of November, 2 years out from the final, and the full list of venues for all three tournaments is Newcastle St James's Park, Sheffield's Bramall Lane, and of course the English Institute of Sport in Sheffield as well. I've been there, watched Volleyball International there. Doncaster's Keepmoat Stadium.
For everyone at home playing the SLP drinking game, take a shot to mention volleyball.
Hull's KCOM Stadium, or the KC Stadium if you're slightly older, home of 25,586 empty seats. York and their new York Community Stadium, hosting 8,005 people. The John Smiths in Huddersfield, Elland Road.
It'll have a new name by
It
then.
will,
won't it?
yeah. It'll be the totally awesome stadium or something like that. Elland Road and Headingley both hosting games in Leeds. In Headingley hosting some of the women's games, two of the women's games as well. In Liverpool, we've got two venues as well: Anfield and the M&S Bank Arena. That'll definitely have a
that's
name.
where the wheelchair
That's going to be where the
final's gonna
wheelchair
be.
final will be. Old Trafford, as we've mentioned, in Manchester. Preston is going to be the first training base, so you can go and watch. You can go watch some people train.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think for Preston, you know, we had a show where we talked about the South Ribble Rabbitohs, Preston's newest rugby league side. So I think it works in well that Preston have got a training base hosting status at this World Cup to come.
Yeah, the Totally Wicked Stadium in St Helens, that'll definitely have a new name by then. Will they have